Welcome to the High Performance Man podcast. I am your host, John Fayocavitz. On this show, I interview successful men who have built impressive careers and businesses, founders, CEOs, and senior leaders and professionals who have operated at a high level for years. We talk about what actually made them successful. The goal is simple: to learn directly from the men who have done it so we can apply those insights into our own careers, businesses, and lives and continue raising our own standards of performance. The show is sponsored by the Prime Performance Method. The Prime Performance Method is designed specifically for high-performing men who have achieved success in their careers but feel like their body and energy have taken a hit along the way. We help professional men regain strength, lose weight, and feel years younger without the long workouts, extreme dieting, and disrupting their demanding schedule. If you are a high-performing man who wants to feel strong and energized as you are successful, message me, John Fayocavitz, on LinkedIn. On today's show, we have Esteban Martinez, who is the Director of Operations and co-founder of Green Loop, where he is an architect and civil engineer. Welcome, correct. Esteban.
Thank you, John. Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. Okay. My first question, Esteban, is what's the most important lesson you've learned so far that has helped you become successful in your business? And it could be numerous things. It doesn't have to be there. Because I know a lot of times it could be a lot.
No, but I get it. Probably the biggest lesson I have learned through the years is that, first of all, you have to remove from your head these roadblocks that you have, preconceptions that you have that it's not possible, it's not feasible, perhaps it's too hard. You have to challenge yourself for sure. You have to think ahead, because at the end, in this business, as a business entrepreneur, I have learned through the years that if you don't take risks, you're not gonna be ahead of the competition. So you have to take risks, and sometimes you have to say yes, despite the fact that you don't know anything about it. And sometimes some of my employees say, I don't know if I have the you know, like I would be I would have the force to say yes to this business because it's so risky. And I say at the end, I know, but it's something that you have to take in order to grow your business. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck and you're going to be left behind by your competition, for sure.
Exactly. So you're thinking of unlimiting beliefs, right? I mean, that's basically what we're talking about.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, in your head, you got to remove those and attack those unlimiting beliefs. Right. And then the other part, where what I'm getting from what you've said, is how to handle failures.
Yeah. And some of those failures, I mean, I don't see them as failures. You either succeed or you learn from it, but you don't have failures, because at the end, yes,
great concept.
Because nobody teaches you how to actually run a business. If there was a major in business, everyone would do it. And I know that sometimes people do some master's degrees and these kind of things, but at the end, it's all about try and not fail, but learn, correct, and then move on. And so you have to sometimes you take some decisions that are not good for your team, so you have to take them back. And sometimes you make good decisions and you step forward. But at the end, I don't see them as failures. It's either you learn from it and you move forward.
That is a great point. Okay, great point. Because when you term the word failures, and I use the word, not you, okay, because that's what people use today, but it's a negative connotation.
Right. And you shouldn't see them as failures. You tried and you didn't succeed, but you learned from it.
Awesome. That is right off the bat, you're giving us some information, man. I love it, Esteban. Okay. My next question: what do you think hinders a lot of men today from reaching their full potential?
Preconceptions that you have either from the university or just from your lives. Sometimes I'm also a father, and actually I'm going to tell you a little story of what happened this morning. Actually, this same morning, I have a daughter. She's 6, beautiful, and she started complaining. I was actually doing exercise. I like to do my exercise between 4 a.m. and 5 a.m. I'm an early morning sportsman, and I heard my little girl crying. So my wife stepped into the kitchen, and I asked her, why is she crying? And she said, I don't know. She's just being like annoying. And I was like, why don't you ask her? And I said, no, I cannot speak with her this morning. And she's like, in those days that you cannot speak to her. And I said, okay. So I went to her room, and I said, what happened, honey? And she said, she was crying, and she was frustrated because she wasn't able to actually make her own bed. She was trying to make her own bed at 6 years because she has seen that we do that during the weekends, and she wanted to help. And she was frustrated because she couldn't put everything in place. So I helped her. And then I went back to my wife and I said, what happened? Really, what happened? And she said, I don't know. She wasn't just listening to me and blah, 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 and so on and so forth. And I said, be careful, because you're putting the seed of preconceptions with her, because you're saying right now at 6 years old that she doesn't listen, she doesn't want to do things. And we all have that, either one way or the other. Our fathers and our mothers and everyone did their best. I'm pretty sure they did their best. But you end up with this preconception that you're not organized, you cannot do blah or whatever. You have to double down and go beyond those preconceptions and teach yourself that you really can. You really can. And actually, my daughter was able to do it at the end. And I said, good job, girl. Good job,
Awesome.
honey. That's what you have to do. So you have to remember yourself about that.
Isn't that something we can even still learn from 6-year-olds?
Oh, for sure, for sure. I was actually lecturing my wife about this morning. I said, be careful. Don't see those preconceptions on a 6-year-old girl, because she's like a sponge. She's going to wrap on all those things.
Wow. That is super, super, super. All right. Next question. For most men on the road to success, or business or professional, other areas of their life get sacrificed. What's been one of the areas of your life that has suffered, if there has been, but where would you like to be successful now too?
Okay. I would say probably, and I have to go back because I have learned through the years that you have to balance these things.
And how long have you had your business?
17 years.
17 years. So it probably transitions from when you were young to where it is today.
Yes. And probably the first 5, 6, or 7 years, you have, again, this preconception that if you want to be successful at your business, you have to give your 110%. So I saw myself working Fridays till midnight, Saturdays and Sundays, nonstop. And I was thinking, okay, I'm actually doing the best for the business. I'm growing this and blah, 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 and so on and so forth. And probably during that time, I didn't spend enough time with my family or friends, or even I didn't have any. I didn't met my wife. I met her probably when I was 8 years into the business, 8 or 9 years.
Okay.
But during that time, I didn't have time for a relationship, to be honest. So I compromised a lot from myself for the business. And probably one of those, actually, I was, again, I'm going to move back to another story.
Yeah.
I like every single Monday in the afternoon, I have a meeting with all my team. We have, actually yesterday I had 35 guys, the direct team. And I said, and I asked them one question. They have to answer through their phones, and I see it live. And I said, how good can you disconnect from work during weekends? And actually, I'm glad to see that 80% of them put 5 stars with me, which means that they disconnect fully. But I saw 20% that put 4 stars. I said, be careful. you have to learn, and this is something that I learned through the years, you have to learn when to disconnect, and you have to give yourself, you have to protect that time, because otherwise the business will eat you alive. That's for sure, and it's not going to let you grow as a person, as a human being, and that's also important. The business is important, but you as yourself is important. So you have to also plant seeds for yourself, relationship wise, family wise, and you have to be careful about those boundaries. Don't let the work consume you, because otherwise you're going to compromise something.
So you didn't meet your wife till 8 years into the business.
Yes.
Okay. So how did that transit when you first met her or got married early at what, 9 or 10 years in your business then? I don't know.
Yeah.
But if anything happened in that aspect? I mean, what happened there with the wife now that you got an added responsibility?
Yes. But it was a really good thing. Actually, the employees that know me from that time and this time, they actually acknowledge that there's a Esteban before Yvonne, which is my wife's name, and after her, because they saw a change in me in terms of not only the way I see life, but the way I have this relationship with my employees. And it's gonna sound crazy, but at the end I see them almost as my sons in a way. It's a protective way, and I'm jealous, and I protect them, and I treasure them. So but it wasn't like that 10 years ago. I was all about business and the data and the things that I was running, and I didn't care about the people, the people itself. So that's something that really changed, and people can acknowledge that.
Right.
I'm a better human being, to be honest.
Good. Well, I'm going to ask you this then, because you mentioned relationships and family, and you mentioned that you're healthy, that you do workouts now or work out now. How about then, in the beginning of your business or during the course of the transition into your businesses, did you neglect your health at all?
I did some exercise, but I didn't have enough sleep, to be honest. I was sleeping 4 or 5 hours at most, which is not healthy at all.
No.
Probably I was able to take it because I was younger. And at that point in time, probably you don't pay for that mistake. Probably at this point in my life, I would definitely pay for that price in one way or the other. It's either cholesterol or you name it. Something is going to happen with me if I continue through that path. Right. Nowadays, I treasure my 7-8 hours of good sleep. I exercise 5 or 6 days from the 7 days, and I treasure also my time with my wife and my daughter. That's sacred, and so I disconnect.
Awesome.
And the other thing, and probably one thing for your listeners, is don't think that you're gonna end your tasks. And that's something that I also said to my team. I said, listen, you have enough tasks. If I see my desk, probably, and I'm doing this like a metaphor, I would have like a pile of things to do, and there's no way I'm gonna go through all these.
Right.
I have to. I tell them I learn to abandon things in a good way. I do what I have to do in the time that I have in order to keep things running as smooth as possible. But I cannot fool myself saying I'm going to go through this whole thing, because it's not going to happen. Not today, not tomorrow, not in a year, because if I end one thing, I'm going to have another one. So you have to learn how to let go. And that's something really important.
Right. Wow. I keep saying to myself, I wish my younger me knew what I know now.
Yeah, right. For sure. You learn through the years, and you learn from your mistakes.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's a question that maybe put some thought into it, or maybe you know right off the top of your head. Where do you find yourself at peace?
Peace. I find myself cycling. That's the way I actually disconnect from everything. I love cycling, and that's why I train so much. And I also race.
Do you?
Yeah, I race.
Awesome.
cycling. So probably in those times is the most time that I'm
It's
disconnect
cycling.
100%. Yes, just thinking about. Sometimes I find myself in this beautiful landscape that I haven't seen before, and it's struck me, and it's like, this is amazing. Or sometimes you find yourself just in the middle of the battle of just cycling, and you enjoy it because you're doing, I don't know, 60 miles per hour, or no, 40 miles per hour, but you're 1 inch away from another guy, or 45
Right.
miles an hour, and you're moving 40 guys at that same speed, and you have to trust every single one that it's along you. Otherwise, you're going to crash and you're going to end up hurting
Awesome.
really bad,
So you're in a club?
Yeah. I'm in a club.
Okay, awesome. How many years have you been doing that then?
12 years.
12 years?
Yeah.
What made you pick that up? I would just say,
No, and actually, before that, I used to do a lot of soccer.
Okay.
I have always enjoyed the sport, but I wanted to start cycling probably when I was really young, but I didn't have the means in terms of cycling, because it's a really expensive sport. Sometimes you think, I'm gonna get a bike and that's it. But once you get into the road bike,
yeah,
it's insane. It's insane. You can spend so much money on it. So I probably postponed it because of how expensive it was. But when I had the means, I let myself go, to be honest.
right. Awesome. My next question is basically for me. I just like to know, because do you have a morning routine?
Usually, yes. I
You
have
said
it.
you get up awfully early, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock.
I get up at 3:45 a.m. So I'm on my bike.
3:45.
3:45 a.m. So
Wow.
probably I'm on my bike 4:10 a.m. I during the weekdays I use this rolling machine, so I'm not outside, I'm inside. So I do 1 hour of hard workout. So at 5:10 a.m. at most, I have to be done, because 5:20 I have to wake up my daughter. She loves to wake up, and she's she
That-
only showers with me.
That
So
is something.
it's I have to shower with daddy. There's no other way. And despite my wife said, come, let's have a shower with mommy. No, it's with daddy. That's it. And she's gonna cry. So I have to be for her at 5:20 a.m. I have to be there for her. So we step into the shower. I shower her. Then my wife dresses her, and then she goes to school at 6:35 a.m. and then I go. I move to work. That's my usually
So
morning routine.
you're ready to go to work by 6:35.
6:45. I'm done. I'm moving
Okay.
to work.
Well, you don't see many 6-year-olds getting up at 5 o'clock either. 5:20.
Yeah.
But her school starts that early?
Yeah, it starts actually at 8 a.m. No, 7:35 a.m.
Okay.
But she has to go by bus. It's a 30-minute
Right.
run. So,
But
yeah.
to get on the bus at 6:35. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's something. So my next question, if you were to give one piece of advice to other men on their journey of achieving success, what would it be?
It's gonna sound corny, but I would say believe in yourself. Again,
No, that's not corny at all.
Again, remove those preconceptions. Because I don't know why, but I mean, if I was able to tell my younger self that pursue this path, or if I would tell my younger self that I'm gonna be in the place that I'm right now, I wouldn't believe it. I wouldn't believe it. And it has only be done because I believed and I pursued something that appeared impossible. Sometimes the type of job that we do, it's highly technical, and sometimes we said we don't have the skills, we don't have the tools.
Right.
And despite that, we send the proposal, we earn it, and that's a good problem. That's probably the other thing.
Okay.
You have to get into good problems. What do I mean by good problems? And I said this to my wife as well. It's when you have a ton of work, That's a good one. That's a good problem. You want to have a lot of work because at the end, you don't want to be stuck as an entrepreneur doing nothing. So it's better to have enough work that you have to hire someone else. For instance, that's a good problem. I have to hire someone else. I have to buy new machinery, new equipment. That's a good problem because it's going to help you grow and move forward. And that's probably, so pick your battles, get into good problems, and remove those preconceptions. That's probably the key to success, at least for me.
You know, that's awesome. Do you think social media plays any part of what people go through today?
In terms of social media that I usually go to, you mean?
No, I mean, like, just like a person wants to do something and they see it on social media. Oh, you can't do that. Or I think that's a stupid idea. Or because you get that all the time.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, somebody will post something and all they get is negative comments.
Oh, sure. Yeah, for sure. So I usually, when I prepare myself for these battles that I have, okay, if this thing is coming, I have to prepare myself. I usually go, and it's the only probably social media that I consume a lot is YouTube, but I don't see it. It's my learning. It's my classroom. So I pick the lessons that I want to learn about. So I prepared like a playlist of videos, and I know that the youngest generation can't stand a 20-minute video about something important. They have to, in 30 seconds, they have to either learn or move forward. And the only way to actually learn is to actually give yourself that time. So I usually, during the time that I'm actually training, I'm listening something that it's training me in something related to the business. And so awesome. While I'm training my body, I'm training my mind in the business.
Awesome, Esteban. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. Okay.
Thank you, John. Thank you for
so
having
much
me.
for taking the time. No, your insights and your stories, man, that's awesome. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing all that. Okay.
No. My pleasure. Thank you for having me, John.
You're so welcome. And as a reminder to everyone listening, the show is brought to you by the Prime Performance Method, where I help high-performing men rebuild strength, energy, and confidence without sacrificing their careers. If you're ready to feel strong in your body as you are successful in your business, message me at John Fayocavitz on LinkedIn. Until our next episode, perform strong in all areas of your life.